Clearing up some YouTube shenanigans. There we go. Cool. And with that, welcome back to the GRT Gr4 Championship. I am once again your humblest of mashiest of potatoes things. Not the bees. So watch one of the Mustangs go around here.
We'll see everybody nice and early for this one. We are starting up in around 5 minutes or so.
Is doing well. Of Hallelujah, the bank holiday. If you're in the UK, other countries I'm not too sure about, but you take what you can get. But with that, hopefully everybody is having a lovely day, or has had a lovely day, and is going to be having a great evening. And hopefully we can provide some great racing for you this evening. And spur you on into the rest of the bank holiday. Lovely exit there from Nick. Evening, Kim. Hope you're doing well. Tuning guys who are readied up for the moment. A championship leader at the moment. And Nick, who we were just looking at before. Good to see him back in the McLaren. Green Monster himself, Mr. Guard Gaming, repping Pot Noodle as usual. Hopefully he will be looking to replicate his great weekend last time out. One of the Mustangs for today, Paul Swales, subbing in his Wrighton's teammate. He just clips the wall on the exit there, coming through the fast last section of the track. Good to see Paul back. Jason's teammate Julian in the other purple Citroen. Always lovely to have the legend that is Julian competing in these league races once again. So good to see him back. Oh, we have Nick in the pits there. Let's see if we can find somebody else. It's Paul. There we go. There's another person. Rob, our favourite robot chameleon, lighting up the times as usual in the blue M4. Ooh, going a bit wide there out of T1. This circuit might catch out quite a lot of people. It isn't typically a track that is run with GR4 cars. It's predominantly a GR3 track rather than GR4. So it's going to be interesting to see what these guys can do here today and see who can master it the quickest, I think. We also have Wrighton coming down the pit straight in the other Mustang as well, and we also have the ever glorious pink bastard that is Hippie. pretty in pink as ever. No doubt he will also be wanting to capitalise on the great weekend he had last week as well. And I believe we're missing Creasy this week, missing Sean this week. I think that's it at this point in time. So not long till the start now. We've got a couple minutes to go before the start. Anybody else? Oh, hello. Citroen is inside the Jag. That's a very interesting concept. Look at them fenders on that Jag. Good stuff. And actually, let's give you a quick rundown of the points. This will surely be one of the first times that I have been able to do that this season. So let's have a quick look at the points going into before the round 7 at least. Ooh, as we see, I believe that's Paul just going a bit wide there, coming out of the twisty section, and that is a lovely metal fence. It's a really, really nice fence. Let's keep it on the legend. That is Julian for the meantime now. So yes, let's run down the points. Jason just losing out a couple points to Rob last weekend with a total of 57 last week. A total puts him on 324 points overall in the championship. Rob is closest rival behind, picking up 60 points and the best point scorer out of last week, with both a second in the feature race and winning the sprint race last week to earn him 60 points and 302 points in total. And Hippie in third place with a great result last week as well, so scoring a solid 36 points and keeps him well ahead of the rest of the pack on 275 points. Now there's a bit of a gap to the rest of the field here, and the next person in the championship so far is Mr. Guard Gaming. He managed to get 37 points last week, but that only brings his total up to 197 points. A few unfortunate place finishes in the sprint races in particular have put Guard right back down the field at the moment in terms of points, but still sitting in a very comfortable 4th place in the championship so far. Wrighton as well, sitting in 5th place overall with scoring 20 points. One of his poorer weekends last week out in that Mustang, putting up to 179 points. Guard really securing a better points finish than Wrighton last week, and as a result Wrighton loses out quite a few points to his closest rival in the championship so far. We also have Creasy in 7th place, 38 points, great points scoring total for him last week, 134 points, just managing to close the gap ever so slightly to Wrighton and Guard at this point, but unfortunately it looks like we will miss out on him again this week, so he was going to be challenged by a lot of the other drivers here today. Nick in 8th place, scoring 22 points last week with a total of 125. A couple of good points scoring today will put him ahead of Creasy in the championship, as well as Mike, who was unfortunately not racing with us anymore. Julian in 9th place as well, scoring 16 points last week on a total of 106 points, showing that even if you just turn up and score consistent points, it really does make all of the difference here. Paul Swales last time out, a great scoring of points, 40 in his first race, so no doubt he will be looking to replicate that as well, putting him into 10th place. And Sean, who was unfortunately not here today, on 37 in total and rounding out the rest of the field. In terms of the constructors, the biggest point scorer last week was actually Rob & Co with a massive 90 points in total, really moving him closer to the top two, who are the ones who are always high in first place with a total of 73 points to take their total up to 468, managing to extend the gap over to their rivals of Catastrophic last week, as Catastrophic only managed to get 60 points in total, bringing their total up to 423, so 30 points difference from last week's racing, separating second and third place now. Julian has 0 cool as well, being overtaken by Rob as of last week, in sitting in fourth place with 380 points, so it is still all to play for these last couple race weekends coming up, so it really is all to play for. Penalties. There we go. There we go. So, if everybody is readied up, we shall get going in this one. So we can wait for Paul to say his piece, just in case. Let's get this thing going. Jason giving us a big slide and parking it in the long right-hander there. And the start of qualifying this time around. Who is going to get the jump on the rest of the guys here? Hard on the accelerator. Looks like some guys are out on track at the moment. And it looks like Rob is the first to jump the queue and end up out on track for the moment. So it looks like it is Rob, followed by Mr. Paul Swales, and who's also followed by one of Hippie, I believe that is, managing to get out of the pits very quickly there. And a lot of these guys are starting on the medium compound of tyres to start their qualifying session for the moment. So these guys will be looking to blast it round as quickly as possible, get into the pits, because there is a very long lap here. So it is a risk starting on these medium tyres in qualifying in order to try and get the jump on the competition here, because it will waste a lot of time getting around this track. As you can see, they're not even into the third sector of the track and a minute is already gone from this qualifying session. So it might be the case of they're only going to get 1, possibly 2 laps for these guys who are going on the medium tyres here. So it's going to be very close between all of these guys right now. Jason is currently sitting on the soft compound of tyres, one of the first soft compound runners here today. So he will be looking to go for a quick lap as well, starting in this lap, so you'll be one of the only ones going for that extra lap in quali. Gard also on the soft compound of tyres, so he might be looking to go for a bit more of an aggressive strategy here today. Nick also on the soft compound of tyres, Wrighton on the medium, and Julian also on the medium, so a bit more of a split this time around. So it'll be interesting to find out whose strategy will have the advantage here as the guys start to come into the last sector there. Paul right on the back of Rob as they battle their way to get round to the pits as quickly as possible there. Paul looking quite quick at this circuit today in practice, so watch out for him here today. So coming around the final corner, and no doubt they will dive into the pits. Yes, they both do. And Jason will be the first one to start their first flying lap here with 9 minutes and 30 seconds left to go in the qualifying session. It looks like Gard is also going for a flying lap, as well as Nick, all three of them starting their first flying laps. 2 minutes and 30 seconds to get round this track on the out lap, and it looks like the rest of the guys are pulling into the pits to swap onto a softer compound of tyre. Shout out to Matt Morris from Sean. We love you and miss you, Matt. Asgard just coming around the first few corners here. Coming into the fast chicanes here. Gard just opting for a bit more of a shallower line coming into that. Ooh, it does get a bit squirrely coming into the braking zone there. Manages to keep it together though, a little flash on the way through, letting him know he is still on the pad. And Nick in hot pursuit for this quali lap. Crucially, will Nick be able to gain on Gard to try and get some slipstream down the straight and maybe shave a couple tenths off his quali time here? Be a good job for Nick if he can do that. But Nick does have to stick very close to the big green Jag, and it's not an easy task to do, as you can see Gard just with a quick downshift coming through the long right hand there, coming through this third sector, just coming onto the third sector now down the pit straight. I don't think Nick is quite close enough to get the slipstream at this stage, maybe a second and a half back from Gard at this stage, so not quite in close enough proximity to gain the slipstream advantage down the back straight. To come around the final corners, Jason just heading into the last sector now. Gard and Nick not far behind. What will the benchmark times be at these first flying laps of qualifying? Jason also coming around the final corner. Ooh, looks to be getting a bit wide there. Hits the wall on exit. That will actually losing quite a bit of time down the pit straight, and he will not be happy with that little mistake. Coming into the very final corner, and it's a 2 minute 20.467 for Jason. First lap of the qualifying session. Gard just pips him, and Nick unfortunately just misses out by a tenth there, showing that that mistake from Jason at the end really did cost him some time, as Gard currently takes provisional pole by a matter of hundredths of a second there. And he will want to try and get round. Ooh, he's actually pulled into the pits now, opting to just go straight back into the pits and maybe put another lap out without fuel saving here. So that will give the other drivers an advantage here, or that might be the end of Gard's quali lap at this stage. See the rest of the guys here coming round for their first flying laps. Rob already on a flyer, 6 tenths quicker in the first sector alone compared to these guys, so Rob really hammering the pace down here, using every bit of the downforce and grip generated from the N4, and Paul doing exactly the same in the Mustang behind them. Let's see the times coming across there. 1.2 seconds ahead there is Rob, and didn't quite manage to catch Paul's first time there as he came out to the next sector. So let's have a quick look at Rob coming around the long right hand. A difficult corner to judge this. Rob just right on the apex there, opting to keep it in 5th gear just to get that traction stability coming out of the corner. Here he comes now on the last sector, 1.6 seconds, really hammering in the time now. Paul also purple, but not quite quick enough compared to Rob, only 8 tenths up compared to Rob's almost 1.6 seconds here at this stage of qualifying. Rob opting for a flying lap on the slightly lower fuel here. But we all know the power of that Mustang can come in very handy. Let's have a quick look now. Is Jason going to dive into the pits? No, he's not. He looks to have been on a purple sector here. Looks like a much better time for him here. A 1:18.8, a great time from Jason, just managing to eke out a bit more time there. However, Rob coming around the final corner, using all of the curb on exit. Paul doing exactly the same. Rob coming across the line to set his first lap. It's a 1:18.9, and Paul coming across the line with a 2:19.1 as well. So very close between these top three drivers. Jason on the slightly more used set of soft tyres, just managing to clinch the time here, and Wrighton set a really good time as well with a 2:20, putting him into 5th place, where Julie comes across the line and just displaces him by a matter of hundredths of a second again. It's a great work from Julian to put that Citroen into 4th place at this point in time. Great result for him at the moment. And unfortunately it looks like Hippie's actually opted to go in for another set of tyres here. Maybe he just made a mistake coming out. Or maybe he's going to get a bit of help from his teammate here. These guys might be employing a bit of teamwork at this stage. So we have a few guys just coming onto the rest of the lap here. So it's going to be interesting. Gad looks like he's coming out for another flying lap. I wonder if he's going to try and make himself a mobile roadblock and just break through the air so Hippie can get as much speed down these straights as possible. And Hippie taking it very cautiously not to use any more tyre wear than he already needs to. Very smart driving here from Hippie, just using that bit more fuel and not saving, and saving as much tyre grip as he can. It looks like Gad is opting to just go to the side there as well. Maybe just burning a little bit more fuel at this stage, giving us a great camera shot coming across the bridge of the two teammates here, driving alongside each other. Gad just sliding his tyres through there as he was on the inside of the corner. Nick looks like he's came into the pits there and opting to go on the medium tyre so far, as Jason comes across the line, just managing to pull out a little bit more time on that set of soft tyres, and it looks like that might be the end of his qualifying session, just adding an extra 10th for the other guys to beat here as Rob comes across the line. Looks like he actually has done a bit of a bad time there. Paul also not improving at this point, and it looks like they will have had to compromise these next laps here, and they really have to just try and go for it on a set of worn softs here. So it's going to be very crucial for these guys. So it looks like some of the guys who have already came into the pits for these new sets of soft tyres for an extra quali lap might have the advantage here. I think you can see now who else is on a flyer. It looks like Wrighton is also on a flyer here, just missing out by a few tenths as well, not managing to improve his lap. Here he comes over the first sector line. He is a bit quicker at the moment, so Wrighton doing a great job of managing to maintain that pace over the course of the life of the tyre, and who knows, we might have a bit of an upset here yet again, as I believe he just wants to try and get that extra position over the Citroen that currently sits in 4th place here. And Gard is opting for the mediums here. Nick on another set of mediums here as well, just getting a bit more practice in for the race. So it looks like the only other guys out on track here. Hippie looking in an incredibly strong position here, opting to go for another set of racing soft after not setting a lap so far. So it really is all to play for at this stage of the qualifying session. And let's see if he uses a bit of fuel saving and uses a bit of slipstream from his teammate in front, coming down both of these straights. Doesn't look like he's quite in the slipstream coming over the bridge, but it looks like Gard might try and give him a bit of slipstream down the pit straight here. They're wanting to try and time this right here and not slow up Hippie at all. Hits the apex nicely. Great run out from Hippie here, and he looks like he will have Gard slipstream coming down the straight as the timer ticks under 10 seconds now. Very wide line, just hitting the apex very sweetly there for Hippie. And look at this teamwork from the ones that are always high. Hippie moving to the side to get as much traction as he can, using his teammate there to the fullest advantage. Will Gr4 let him go here? Gr4 pulls off to the braking line. It's all to play for of Hippie now, as Rob actually manages to come across the line with a 2:18.4, so a great lap from Rob, managing to displace Jason at the top here. But all eyes are on these three. Gr4, who's helping his teammate here achieve the best lap as he can. Nick in 7th place, also on a lap, but was on medium tyres there. Let's see if he's managing to come across and do anything. No, he goes to the pits. All eyes on this man. His one and only flying lap of this qualifying session as he comes around the final corner, nailing apex, using as much of the curve as possible. Massive run up to the line here. What's Hippie going to do at this stage? It's a 1:18.7, a great time there from Hippie, managing to put him into 2nd place. So great time there from Hippie, putting him up into 2nd place, and an excellent starting position here for the pink Jag driver. Great teamwork there from Gr4, helping him out down the straight as well. So great stuff there as well. So looks like your qualifying positions for the feature race are Rob coming in 1st place, taking another pole position for his championship. Hippie with his one and only flying lap, managing to come home in 2nd place there, just pipping Jason by a matter of hundredths yet again. Very close between all of these drivers here. Jason unfortunately just missing out on them on that front row start and coming in 3rd place, but a great time from him nonetheless. Paul as well will be looking to try and get a great start from 4th position as well, and an amazing qualifying time from Julian, which I believe will possibly be his highest start in a feature race to date. So do not count out this man here today in the Citroen. Great job by Julian to get himself up into 5th place here today. Not the start that Wrighton would have wanted to his weekend so far, second in 6th place, but no doubt he will improve yet again in this weekend. And unfortunately Gr4 just a little bit of bad timing on his lap there, not quite managing to get the best out of his first flying lap, but coming in crucially to help his teammate. And we all know that Gr4's strength is in his racing ability, so all to look out for, coming from the back of the grid and making his way through the pack to hopefully take home a good position there. And Nick unfortunately not quite managing to bring out the best in the McLaren here in this qualifying session in 8th place, and we'll be looking to move through the pack as quickly as possible as the qualifier ends and we move into the feature race. So a flash of the lights here from everybody on the grid. Rob and Hippie lock out the first front row. Jason behind him in the Citroen, Paul following him in 4th place. As we hear a rev of the engines. Let's keep an eye on the Citroen coming into the start. And away they go as the lights go out. Wheel spin from quite a lot of these guys here today, and it's an excellent start from Jason here, who is on the medium tyres and is on the inside of Hippie coming into the first corner. Will he be able to take it around the inside of the Jag driver? He does, managing to move into 2nd place. Rob is now being hounded by the Citroen driver as well, coming into the first couple of corners here. Paul managing to keep 4th place from Julian behind, but will he manage to keep it coming into the next sector? A bit wide there from Julian, and Gr4 manages to come through into 5th place now. Great start from Gr4 to move up to 5th position from the back of the pack there. And Hippie will look to just try and maintain this position for the early part of this race. Rob and Jason very close, nose to tail here. All 3 of these guys on the medium tyres so far. Paul also on the medium. It looks like pretty much everybody is on the medium. Yes, indeed, everybody is on the medium set of tyres here, so it is all to play for at these early stages of the race, and it will be a job and who can keep the most consistent times here today. Looks like everybody is opting to go for a similar strategy, crucially at this stage of the race. So it'll be very interesting. It's the first time we've seen all the drivers go under the same set of tyre here. And crucially, all of these guys will want to keep slipstream on the entire field, so not one of these guys will want to lose out on slipstream. But unfortunately, it looks like some of them at the back, Julian just losing out on slipstream to Guard there. But these top 5 all within slipstream distance of each other. Paul looks to the inside of Hippie, coming into just before the last sector there. The tight right hander just managed to keep together as Rob actually goes wide, coming off of the back straight there. Jason right on the back of him now as they come into the final S's, coming into the final sector, nose to tail yet again. Jason really using everything he's got in that sit run, with the aerodynamic wipers going off as well. Paul managing to keep his 3rd place, coming into the rest of the sector here, and he will look to try and advance on the rest of these guys. The 2 Jags there in the background, and 4th and 5th, they will look to try and employ a different strategy here, just keep with these running pack drivers. So it'll be very interesting to see what kinds of strategies these guys go for at this stage, as it looks like almost all 3 of the 1st, 2nd and 3rd run wide at that first corner. Jason maybe just having a sniff on the rear end of Rob here. Take that way, whichever way you want. But just managing to maintain the position as they come into the 2nd sector here. Now down the hill, coming into the first S's section here. Will Jason look to try and employ a move? He looks to be the faster of the 2 drivers here at this stage, but it's all to play for. It's a very long circuit and it's a very long race, so there's plenty of time to go. So they do just have to manage the tyres and fuel much more effectively over the course of this lap. It is a very high tyre wear circuit, this one, especially at midday where the grip is strongest, so the tyres will have to work the hardest to try and make sure they work. Almost clipping the outside wall there, coming onto the long right hander here onto the back straight. All of these top 5 drivers just barely within slipstream distance of each other. It looks like Hippie just went a bit wide there. Doesn't look like he quite caught the wall though, but crucially has lost out to the slipstream of Paul in front, so he will want to try and get that back as quickly as possible, as all 3 of these drivers are now nose to tail. 1st, 2nd and 3rd here. Will Paul have a try and look on the inside of Jason there? No, he's not quite close enough at this stage, but you can already see the tyre wear of the Mustang coming into its own there. I think Paul wants to try and get these moves done as quickly as possible when the tyres are fresh on this Mustang. Incredibly close coming through the 2nd S's section there. Paul just keeping on the track there. And again, nose to tail, Jason just maybe using the slipstream from Rob in front to save that bit more fuel. But Jason comes to the side there. Will he try and send it up the inside of Rob? Coming into T1 off of the pit straight. He looks to have held the position, and he does. Can Rob get the switch back? He looks like he's got the run on Jason, but just slots in behind Jason at this point. He looks to maybe have a look around the inside coming into the next section here. All 3 of them within a couple tenths of each other now, so great clean driving here to run all nose to tail here. But crucially, it looks like Jason's managed to save that little bit more fuel than both Rob and Paul at this stage of the race. So smart driving here from Jason so far. But will he be able to keep that time from the guys behind? But Rob gets a great run out of the first S's section here, and it looks like these guys will still be battling here. Does Rob give a little nudge there to Jason maybe, just to try and stop him and protect himself from Paul behind? Rob doesn't look like he wants to be in first at the moment, and he's opting just to work together with Jason in front, his championship rival, to protect himself from the growing Mustang behind. Oh, but it looks like Jason gets it a bit wrong coming out of the long right-hander there, and Paul takes massive advantage of this. Rob just collects Jason just collects Rob there coming out of the long right-hander. Jason yields the position to Rob, but Paul, massive gains coming out of that section, goes right through, and now Hippie looks to try and make a move on the inside of Jason now after that incident. Jason just managing to keep it around the outside, the added traction of that outside line there just coming into play. Both of the teammates there side by side coming through the S's. Not the quickest way to go through the S's there for the teammates, but looks like Gr4 is opting to take the front running now for these two, and maybe he can apply some pressure to the rest of these guys now. All 5 of these drivers look very similar in pace, but crucially it will all come down to strategy here. So it looks like Hippie has managed to save a bit more fuel. Jason looks to be the best on fuel at the moment. Gr4, Rob and Paul here all look fairly similar, although Rob and Hippie look to have used similar levels of fuel here, while Jason looks to have saved a bit more than all of them here. So crucially that could prove the difference between all of these guys here. But that's Citroen looking very handy there as Hippie just goes a bit wide coming out of the first sector there. Coming down the first hill section, Hippie just losing out behind to Gr4, but both of the Jag drivers unfortunately out of slipstream range now, and will try their best to try and gain back up to the top 3, but for the meantime it is Paul from Rob from Jason at this stage of the race as Jason sets a purple sector going through sector 2 now, hard on the brakes into the tight left hand corner before the sweeping right hand bend onto the pit straight. All these guys within slipstream range of each other now. Will any one of them be able to make a pass? Jason going very tight there. An excellent line from him, but just loses a bit of time on exit to the BMW driver in front. But crucially these two drivers still in the slipstream of the Mustang in front, and you can see the tyres just starting to show their wear on the Mustang here. But crucially he is actually managing them fairly well at this stage of the race, and it is not as bad as it usually is in that Mustang. However, the understeer will likely to come into effect in the next few laps, and saying that is actually happening right now as Rob is right on the back of Paul here. And it looks like Jason actually might have made a mistake coming through out of the pit straight there, as Gr4 and Hippie are close in pursuit behind them as well. Only a second separates third and fourth place here, but crucially Jason has actually fell off the slipstream of the top 2 here. Might have been a mistake coming down the pit straight from Jason, as he's now a second behind the top 2 here, and Rob really trying to save as much fuel as he can and capitalise on the mistake of his championship rival behind him. Great line there coming through T1, opting to just give Paul a little push there coming out of T1, using as much time as he can. Will he try and think of a move coming into sector 2 here? Doesn't look like he's quite close enough yet, but the added grip of the N4 might give him a chance coming into this S section, and might try and make him defend and give him a bit of a buffer over Jason behind, who is out of the slipstream still. Because even though that M4 is not quick in a straight line, having an extra Mustang breaking the way through the dirty air there will prove him very good in his defence. Purple coming into the second sector, once again coming into the tight left-hander onto the sweeping bend before the pit straight. I'm flubbing all of my words tonight completely. Better line from Rob there, gets a great exit coming out onto the back straight there, right in the slipstream of Paul. He will have a great run coming into the next sector now. Will Rob try and pull a move coming into the tight right-hander off of the pit straight? Does he want to try and make a move? No, he plays it cautiously for now, knowing that he is gaining time on the 3 guys behind him here. Smart driving from Rob at this stage, and look at how much tyres and fuel he is saving compared to the Mustang in front of him. Almost a quarter tank of fuel more, and Jason, crucially, is doing the same. He's managing to make excellent use of his fuel saving now, as it looks like Gad and Hippie opting is also on almost quarter tank of fuel more than his rivals. Gad and Paul looks to maybe be losing out in the pit lane here, but crucially Gad is the first one to jump off of them medium tyres now, comes in with 25 litres of fuel. And he will be the one to try and get the undercut as Paul goes wide coming through T1 there. Jason really actually managing to put the power down now and is catching back up to these two. Maybe Rob might want to try and make a move on Paul, as it looks like his tyres, and as I exactly say that, Rob makes a move on the inside to try and get the cut back there, and it looks like he'll make it stick coming through the first of the S's section. Looks like Paul's tyres are just starting to give up a little bit more now, as Nick is also in the pits and puts on a set of the soft tyres, and that should be him until the end of the race. Rob just managing to put a bit of a buffer here to the Mustang behind, but Jason has managed to catch up to the slipstream here and will get the tow down the back straight. Gad's the first person to pit, just coming along the bridge section here, and there's just under a 30-second gap between him and first place at the moment. But both these gaps look to be declining here rapidly, as you can see Gad actually managing to get just maintaining the speed to the guys in front on the set of soft tyre. Let's have a look at his pace coming through the sweeping right-hander here. A great exit from Gad and just maintaining his pace through there. But these guys still nose to tail. And will any of them try to get the undercut here? Ooh, Jason just going a bit wide in the background there, hitting the wall. Who will be the first of these three to make the jump? Is anybody going to come into the pits now? And it looks like both Paul and Jason both coming into the pits now. Rob is out on his own in the lead. And Hippie also looks to continue for another lap on these medium tyres now. A bit of a mistake now actually from Hippie, as he's also 7 seconds behind, so maybe a bit of a mistake on that last lap for Hippie, and crucially has put him quite a bit out of contention now with these guys. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens to him. As he will surely look to try and pit on the next lap to not hemorrhage any more time over these guys, and looks like Gad has actually managed to make a blinding lap here and has actually come out ahead of Paul at this stage. But look at Gad's fuel. It is the same with Jason's now, so he's really going to have to try and do a bit of fuel saving. Same with Jason here, to try and make it to the end of this race with enough fuel. Crucially, Gad is only 4.7 seconds away here, but you can see how much time Paul has lost out to Jason in the pits. 5 seconds. Paul just came in ahead of Jason into that round of pit stops, but you can see how much time that has cost him by going all out in the Mustang. But crucially, he will be able to go all out on that set of soft tyres with a full tank of fuel. He will be able to gun it right to the end of this race. But the first step now is to overtake the big green Jag in front of him. Once again, coming along the sweeping right-hander, both guys taking a very fine line there, getting a great exit onto the back straight now. Paul just in the slipstream here. Will he have enough ground to make up on Gad to try and make a move on him into the next corner. Doesn't look like he's going to be close enough. Coming down under 5 tenths, just coming under 4 tenths here, coming on into the next corner, sliding it through the corner out of the back straight there. You can see the added extra grip of the extra lap there for Paul coming in handy, and Rob and Hippie both pit to try and save themselves from the undercut. I don't think it's going to work though. 23 seconds is the only time difference between the rest of these guys here. Rob just putting in the fuel now as Jason goes by, starting his next lap. Where does Rob come out here? He's still in the pit, he's still fueling. And out goes Rob, and through goes Jason at this stage as Paul looks to try and make a move on Gad. It's going to be very close between all three of these guys coming into the next corner. Will Gad and Paul manage to try and overtake Rob before Rob's tyres heat up here? Rob maybe just putting a bit more fuel in than he needed at this stage. He will be gunning it to the end of this race, but crucially it has allowed both Gad and Paul to catch right up here, and they'll be in the slipstream. It's going to be a massive battle for second place here. Rob really losing out in the pits here after getting almost undercut by two drivers here. Gad pitting 2 laps earlier and Paul pitting a lap earlier than Rob is really cost him at this stage. But will the added grip of the fresher tyres prove handy for Rob? And it looks like it might be, as Rob just actually managed to open out a gap of almost, well, just over half a second here to both Gad and Paul. Can these two maintain slipstream distance to Rob? It will be crucial for these guys to try and keep in slipstream range coming down the back straight. And it looks like Rob has just done enough. Great stuff from Rob there, just managing to get just enough distance between him and the two guys battling behind him. And it looks like Rob, on the fresher set of tyres, might be home free here. But it is going to be a very tall ask for Rob to try and hunt down 5 seconds worth of time here on Jason in front. Both of them look to be fuel saving a little bit more now, with Jason doing more than the latter. It's going to be very interesting to see where he comes out in all of this, but look at how much time Hippie has lost in the pits. 6 seconds back to his teammate here. He might have just overfueled a bit too much, similar to Rob. He's actually put in more fuel than Rob at this stage of the race. They will be going gung-ho for the rest of the race, but I don't think it's going to be enough here, as he has to catch up a monumental 6 seconds with 5 minutes worth of racing here. It is definitely not out of the question, but it's going to be very close to see whether he will be able to catch the guys in front of him or not on the fresher, soft tyres. Let's take a look at the battle behind here. Julian and Nick going at it in the Citroen and the McLaren. A battle for 6th place. Crucially, a couple points on the line here, and these points will serve crucial contributions in the Constructors' Championship especially. Nick with the more worn of the soft compounded tyres between these two at this stage. And will that affect him coming into the final 5 minutes of the feature race now? Both of them very tidy coming through the first S section. Julian still just in the slipstream of the McLaren in front and getting a great run over the bridge. Will he try to make a move before the pit straight, or will he try and use Nick as a battering ram through the fresh air and try and get him on the back straight? Very close now, coming into the bulk of sector 3 now. Round the sweeping right-hander, coming into the pit straight. Very tight line for Julian here, and he gets a great run out of the corner compared to Nick. Right in the slipstream there. Nick punching a massive hole in the air for Julian. Julian moves over to the inside. Does the Citroen have enough power to get through, still side by side, coming into the braking zone for the next corner. Both of them hard on the brakes. Nick just opting to go a little bit deeper into the corner and managing to just keep it around the outside, still side by side. Nick just manages to maintain his position, defending on the outside there. Great work by Nick to keep the traction, keep it planted through that section and keep trucking on. Julian will have to try again in another part of the track to try and get past him, as Nick actually gets into the wall there. Perfect opportunity for Julian. Will he try and make a move on the inside of Nick there? No, he just backs out at the last second there. He doesn't want to come into blows with these two, as it will really hinder the time. Let's have a quick check back into the front drivers. Hippie managing to gain a little bit of time over his teammate here, but nowhere near enough as he needs to. Looks like he's gained a second on that last lap, but crucially, because Gard is in the slipstream of the Mustang in front, looks like he's actually managing to keep a bit more time in his back pocket compared to his teammate, with being in the slipstream of the big heavy Mustang in front. And Rob has managed to pull out a 2-second gap to third and fourth place as well, and has also managed to just gain a little bit more time on Jason in front, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough unless Jason or one of these other drivers makes a mistake. But saying that, as he goes purple in sector 2 there, Hippie taking the fastest lap of the race last lap for the 2:18.5, so great job from him, showing that he still has pace at this latter stage of the race. But will it be enough? The gap down to 4.4 seconds now and closing rapidly. He will only have one more lap to gain that time. I don't think there's enough time left in this race for Hippie to catch back up, and it will be disappointing despite the earlier great fuel saving this. Maybe that mistake on them few laps cost him dearly now. As he comes down the back straight, still setting very fast times, but not losing. It looks like Gard's actually dropped off of the back of Paul now, and crucially isn't getting that slipstream, so it doesn't look like Gard will be challenging third place anymore, as Paul manages to just gain bits and pieces of time on Gard. He has the lower fuel of the two cars, does Gard, but he has the much more worn tyres than the Mustang in front, and you can see how much more grip Paul has in this last sector of the track. He has now left Gard 2 seconds up the road there. Jag's tyres just failing in this latter stage of the race, and he has to be careful because Hippie is closing in on him fast. As it looks like Julian's actually managed to pass Nick in the last lap as well. Let's see if we can see that on the replay. It looks like he might have actually managed to pass him coming down the pit straight in the slipstream there, so good job for Julian, managing to take 6th place away from Nick at this stage of the race. Coming into the final lap of the race, he actually does go a bit wide there coming out of the first corner, so still all to play for both of these guys here, both on the soft set of tyres, but crucially Nick just losing out a bit more time here to Julian, maybe just needing to save a little bit more fuel here, as Nick just put in a little too less fuel on his car, and he can't challenge Julian at this stage, but he is staying right behind him, crucially not in slipstream range at the moment. Will he be able to gain any more time coming over the bridge? This looks to be the only battle out on track at the moment. Wrighton unfortunately not having a very good race at all, really not suited to this track at all, and unfortunately it doesn't look like he will be scoring too many points here today. Hard on the brakes, coming into the tight left-hander for the final time, once again coming around the banked corner now. Will there be any contact of any walls coming through this section for the final time? Ooh, Nick actually going very wide there, losing a lot of time to Julian there coming around the banked right-hander, and unfortunately losing a lot of time down the back straight now. And that might be the end of Nick's challenges. Julian might just squeeze 6th place away from him here. Let's have a cut back to some of the leaders now, and Hippie managing to close the gap to 2 seconds of his teammate, but it's not going to be enough. He really did need at least 1 or 2 more laps at this stage to come home with any sort of win. but Jason with a great strategy coming across the line on minimal fuel to take the win of the feature race and extend his lead at the top of the championship. Rob coming across the line as well, shaking across the line 4 seconds behind his championship rival. Paul coming across the line to take his second feature race podium of the season. Gad and Hippie very close coming across the line. Actually, Gad might have just slowed up a bit there to watch these two coming across the line, and Julian crucially manages to take 6th place away from Nick on the final laps there, so great drive from him. Nick coming across the line in 7th place, and unfortunately Wrighton looks like he just made a few too many mistakes in this race and unfortunately comes across the line in 8th place. Handbraking the Mustang coming across the line, just almost comes to a complete stop coming across the line, and that rounds out the grid there. Good stuff from these guys here. Jason taking the win. No clean race this time around. We'll have to see who took the fastest lap come the end. As I see one of the Mustangs glitch across the screen. Good racing by all. It's unlucky, Rob. Evening, Foxy. Evening, Joker. Don't worry, Foxy, you've only missed one race so far tonight. We still have a massive sprint race coming up. They will all be competing in the Lancer Evolution GR4 cars. So don't worry, you haven't missed all the action here tonight, Foxy. We've still got plenty to go at this stage. And trust me, the is definitely Jason coming home with a great win, and crucially the strategy and fuel saving ability of Jason coming in crucial to take 1st place away from his championship rival in Rob and extending his lead for the moment in the championship. Rob 4 seconds behind him, still securing a great podium there and managing to really show his early pace on the medium set of tyres, which really put him in front of the rest of the grid. Paul with another great podium position coming in. This is only his 2nd race in this championship so far. Well, 3rd race if you count the extra championship, but the 2nd weekend coming into this and securing another podium in the Mustang, so a great job from him once again, securing a large number of points. Hippie and Gad once again side by side, coming across the line, only a few tenths separating them. Gad coming in 4th place over his teammate, this time around in 5th place for Hippie. Good result for Julian as well, coming home in 6th place, really managing to make that sit run work in this feature race this time around. Nick coming home in 7th, and unfortunately Wrighton coming home in 8th place and not managing to hook up that Mustang this time for the feature race. And Rob coming across with the fastest lap with a 2-minute 18.3 on the 10th lap. Replay, and we shall change this once again. Oh, wrong thing. 111, 111, that's it. Ten-minute break as usual as we watch some of these guys come around. Yeah, the M4 is definitely a thirsty boy, Rob. Unexpectedly a thirsty boy as well. Yeah, it was very interesting coming down to that bridge, coming out of the banked right-hander there before the back straight there, Paul. Looks like I think Jason just caught the outside wall there and unfortunately just collected Rob on exit. Nothing really could do too much about that, but gifted the lead there coming down the pit straight. But good result from the both of you there to take 2 steps on the podium. And with that, let's have a quick run around here, shall we, just while we're waiting. But definitely what this Evo can do at this track. In a normal GR, this thing would be absolutely crap, but because it's a one make, it doesn't matter quite as much. As good on the brakes as ever the Evo is. It's going to be very fun through these twisty sections, as you'll be able to pretty much flat out go for it. Bags and bags of grip coming through that first S section there. And I just point out how pretty this game is at this time of night. The one thing Polyphony can do is they can make an excellent looking game. Really don't take notice of that massive lake that's there half the time, as you're too busy trying to concentrate on this bloody awful corner. I just clipped the wall there coming around the outside. Once again, just a massive amount of mountains and stuff and detail in backgrounds textures as well. It reminds me of the old Matterhorn circuit on GT5 and GT6. Just massive sweeping mountain landscape there. Can you full throttle coming through there? Nope, definitely not. Do have to have a slight lift coming through that section. Right, let's take us on a lap of St. Croix B in the Mitsubishi Evo 10 GR4 car, using all the curb on exit there to get the best run possible. Shift as late as possible as well, coming across the line, so it's because of the good brakes in this car, you should be able to just brake at the 100 meter board, carry as much momentum around as you can. Could have taken a bit more momentum there, could have been a bit more aggressive to take a little bit more time here, but for the next section, take as much of the curb and apex as you can. Again, once again, braking at the 100 meter board, take as much of the curbs as you can in this four-wheel drive machine and use as much as you can on the exit as well. You really want to try and use the track limits to the best of your ability here. Keep it round and then swing it out wide so you can get the best exit and best entrance into these S's. A quick dab of the brakes down in the fourth and then down in the third, coming out over onto the bridge here. And you have a few seconds to prepare yourself for the next couple corners here. Some of the toughest corners in GT here, no exaggeration here. This one can catch out a lot of people. Just look out for the 125 meter braking marker on the side of the corrugated fence there. Jason coming across the line with a 2:17 lap time there, so good job from him. Slight dab of the brakes there, swing it round, use as much of the grip as possible, just having enough grip. You want to try and take that fence as close as possible there. A wider line coming in makes for a much quicker line coming out onto the back straight there. Take as much as you curb and leave it out as wide as you can. Late on the brakes into this next corner and momentum straight around. You can actually brake very late there in this Evo compared to some of the other GR4 cars. Once again, apex, miss the apex on the first corner, hit it as much as you can on the second as well as the third. Slight lift coming into this next section here, barrel out to try and get the best exit you can. You want to try and not lift off the throttle through them last few corners there, hard on the brakes just passing the 100-metre board. Take as much as the curb once again on entrance and exit, and on to the pit straight here. What's my time going to be? Not as quick as Jason with a 1:18.1, so great time from Jason there at this stage. A set of 1:17.1 there, massive drift coming through T1. Lap of St. Croix. Good stuff. Let's have a look to see if everybody is readied up. Couple of minutes to go here. Should actually have a quick check of the race order here. Set as by host for the meantime. Waiting for Rob to ready up here. Change of the grid. Hopefully you guys are all having a lovely bank holiday Sunday day today. I'm definitely looking forward to an extra day off tomorrow. Is anybody else not working tomorrow because of the bank holiday? Yeah, it's probably because I'm moving my controller around as well. I probably have to try and get a new mic at some point, to be honest. I've had this one for, must be a year now, to be honest. Ah, that sucks, Foxy. See, unfortunately, why can't everybody just be off on a bank holiday? Would be much better. No, that sucks, man. Right, let's have a quick change around of this grid before we go underway. So, Jason comes in first place, Rob in second, Paul in third, Gad in fourth, Hippie in fifth, Julian sixth, Nick in seventh. So Ryan, Nick, Julian, Hippie, Gad, Paul, Rob and Jason. Yes, cool. And as the clock ticks down to 9:15 here in the UK, let's get this sprint race underway. Everybody's readied up. Let's do this. Evening, Tamia. As the two teammates of Julian and Jason pull up alongside there. No, especially in the GR3 cars, I really do like this track. I think it's a really nice and underrated track, even though this specific variant of the track is used a lot in daily races. I should know this is the track I managed to get my what was it? My A+ ranking on a few weeks ago in the Datsun GR3 car, so I really do like this track. But enough about that. Coming on the run to the line, and away we go once again for this sprint race here. Wrighton leading the pack, away from Nick, away from Julian, and away from Hippie, really warming up the tyres coming down the pit straight there. Everybody clean coming into T1. Is there any mistakes? No. Looks like everybody's clean coming into T1 there. And who will have the slipstream coming into the long straight sections of track here. Nick looks to have just lost a bit of pace to Wrighton, who's in front now. He's being challenged by Julian behind once again. Julian looking to be very racy here at this early stage of the race. Gard managing to close right up to the back of his teammate Hippie as well, with the rest of the guys following in hot pursuit there. Ooh, Julian almost going a bit too wide there, just coming out of the first S's there. Hippie managing to get the jump on Julian, going to the outside, and we'll have the slipstream coming into the next corners. Hard on the brakes there for Hippie. Does Julian have the inside line? He does, but can't quite keep it there. A little bit of touch of the wall there from Hippie. That might allow Julian to come back through, but no, he doesn't. Looks like Paul's looking to try and make a move on Gard on the inside in the Iron Brewmobile, but they give each other the room. Gard just has the traction coming out of the corner and crucially has the slipstream there. Saying that though, Hippie actually moves out of the slipstream to give Paul the slipstream there rather than his teammate. Gard slots in behind once again. Oh, it looks like Wrighton's actually moved off to the side there. Great shot of them coming down into the next few corners there. 4 wide it looks like coming into the next section of corners. Still 3 wide on the exit of coming out of the back straight there. Hippie managing to take advantage there around the outside of everybody and moving into 3rd place. Gard also managing to move up into 4th there. So Julian, the big loser out of that one, and Paul also managing to just do that there. Oh, but looks like a bit of contact there, and Julian goes around. Let's have a quick replay of that to see what happened there. Let's have a quick look. So you can see there, he's actually side by side with Paul Swales there. Oh, and unfortunately does just get a bit too wide on the exit there. Real shame for Julian after a great start. And unfortunately he's right off the back of the pack now. Really unfortunate after the good start Julian had. And it will take a monumental effort to catch up to the rest of the guys in front now. To the rest of the battle, as it looks like Paul goes wide on the exit of T1 there. And Rob and Jason managed to move up. The 2 teammates battling up ahead. Hippie going very wide coming out the corner and allowing Rob and Jason to catch right back up to them here. Nick and Wrighton still battling profusely coming into the S's there. Going to be very risky going side by side through this section. Wrighton takes the outside line and slams on the brakes to take the inside line, sweeping around the nose of Nick there. And coming around, but looks like, look at the traction from Nick there on exit, still side by side. This is great racing as they come across the bridge now. And it looks like there's a massive battle going on behind as well. Gard's managed to move up a bit of a gap. Jason now moves up into 4th place, just ahead of Rob. Hippie losing out 2 positions there, coming across the bridge there. And Gard now actually managing to catch the back of the 2 leaders here. Nick just losing a bit of time to both Wrighton and Gard behind him. Is Jason in the slipstream of Gard? It doesn't look like it at this stage, and Rob will want to try and make the most of this by maybe challenging him coming into the next corner now. The slipstream in full effect on that long back straight. Jason goes to the inside to protect his line. Rob might try and have a look around the outside here. Won't want to compromise his line too much to head into the sand. Well defended from Jason, cutting him off there. But Rob is still looking very racy here at this point of the race. Still looking to try and find that gap. Pressuring Jason to all his might there. Great exit from Rob there. Jason hits the wall. This might be the opportunity Rob's looking for. Looks to go to the outside. Hippie tries to join him here. Side by side coming through the last corner there. Rob on the exit, still on the outside of Jason, managing to go around the outside of Jason there. Crucially though, will Jason manage to come back at Rob coming into the first corner now? No, he doesn't look like he was close enough just there, and slots back into 5th position for the moment. Oh, Hippie just going a bit wide there of T1. Paul managing to make a bit of a comeback there on Hippie, slotting to the inside of Paul. And Paul manages to slot through into 6th place and challenge the rest of these guys here, as it looks like Gard is now battling with Nick, as Nick loses out of place to both Gard and Rob here. Rob closing right up to the back of both of these guys here. And coming into the S's, Gard still holds on to a 2nd place. Rob managing to cling on to his third as well. Gard very wide coming through the S's there, but Rob even wider, and Rob hits the wall in the background there. A rare mistake from Rob, and that puts him right back down the grid. All the work he made up there coming into this next section. It looks like Paul is looking to maybe try and make a move on Jason coming into... Ooh, almost making contact there, just coming into the main two corners of Sector 3 now. All to play for, incredibly close racing from all of these guys. Jason and Paul almost going too wide coming through the banked right hand as well. This is allowing Rob to catch up from his earlier mistake. Gard managing to just have a little bit of a gap to the guys behind him. Doesn't look like the rest of the guys will be close enough to challenge him coming into the next corner there. Everybody looking incredibly racy here. Ooh, as Nick looks to maybe go for a lunge on Gard there, coming down the pit straight as he managed to gain a heap of time on Gard. I think Gard saw it coming and maybe just got a bit faked out by him there. Jason coming around the outside of Nick here. Oh, but Gard doesn't realise Jason was on the inside there. A little bit of contact between the two. Jason tries to maintain the line coming around the outside. Will he have the traction over Nick? Looks like he does. Will he have that much of a gap to try and make a move on Gard? No, Gard shuts him off coming around the last corner there. Massive group. Hippie actually losing out to Rob, who's managed to get back up into 5th place here, managing to make a move on the inside of Paul coming into the last corner there, and will maintain his position coming into the first corner. Don't count Rob out of this yet, as Jason moves to the inside of Gard now. Gard looking to try and get the cutback, but doesn't look like he has enough speed coming through T1. All the meantime, Wrighton has just pissed off at the moment here. 2.5 seconds in the lead now, with half this race still to go. Great stuff from all these guys. Gard not wanting to give up his 2nd place that easily, still right on the back of Jason here, as Hippie and Paul now battle for 6th and 7th in the background coming through the S's now. Who has the better run coming out of the S's? It looks like it's actually Gard at this point, still maintaining the slipstream to Jason in front. Can these guys manage to catch Wrighton in front as Jason goes purple through Sector 2 here? Once again, all hard on the brakes, no moves coming into this section just yet. Rob just managing to maintain his gap in the background as well. All the drivers very tight coming through this corner. Oh, Jason maybe just going a little bit wide there. Slight touch of the wall from both Jason and Gard there. That's going to allow Nick to catch right back up. But it doesn't look like he has the momentum coming out of the last corner there. And Jason and Gard is now putting pressure on Jason here. Gard doesn't look to make a move on Jason. He's actually maybe went a bit deep going into the last turn coming off of the back straight, and loses a heap of time to Jason in front there. Again, good defending from Jason, not allowing too many people past here. 0.6 of a second purple through the next corners. And it looks like Wrighton's actually lost out a heap of time there. But Jason once again is in the wall, crucially allowing all these guys to catch back up to him now. All the good work he's doing, he's just made that same mistake a couple of times on that corner. And that still allows both Gard, Nick and Rob to catch all of them, allowed to catch back up here, as Rob sets the fastest time of the race with a massive 2:17.9. Gard moving to the inside there on Jason. Doesn't quite look like he managed to have the run there, but Jason goes wide, so does Nick. Jason gets squirrely coming out of T1 there. Rob and Nick coming on the inside of Jason there. Jason has the inside line on Nick and just manages to squeeze out Nick coming into that, but a massive gain for Rob as he manages to get back up into 3rd place again. Another rare mistake from Jason this time around, and manages to let both Gard and Rob past. Gard throwing that Evo around coming through the S's section there, and look at that Rob, and look at that run that Rob has coming out of the S's there. Great stuff from all these drivers as Rob peels to the inside there on Gard. This is going to allow Jason and the rest of the guys to catch back up here. Gard doesn't fight it too much as Rob goes back into second place. Great recovery drive from here. Still 5 minutes left in this race. This battling between all of these guys has actually allowed Wrighton a bit more of a gap at this stage. But these guys will be hunting him down very quickly here. Rob, 0.6 of a second purple on his own fastest lap here. Gard still in the slipstream of Rob here at this stage. Will he be able to, as it looks like the battle, three-way battle for 5th place, coming in behind Paul very late on the brakes then, somehow didn't manage to make contact there. Great stuff from all 3 of these guys as well, still battling away at the back for the last few points in the sprint race. But it looks like Guards just fell slightly off the back of Rob here, coming through this last sector. Jason manages to nail that corner this time around, is now right on the back of Gard here. Ooh, as it looks like both Nick and Paul slam into the barriers at the last corner there, and Hippie manages to take advantage there and going straight clean through the both of them there, showing that clean, consistent driving is the way to keep positions out on track there, as it looks like Jason manages to get ahead of Gard, but the Gard gets the massive cutback manoeuvre coming out of T1 there. So you can see there, Jason just overextends just a little bit, and a classic cutback manoeuvre there from Gard, and Gard manages to maintain a position coming through there into the next few corners there, as it looks like Jason is now still mounting a challenge on Gard here, coming through the S's. He's going to try and make it around the outside. Very ballsy move coming into the S's there. Jason just makes it stick, but Gard once again try and get the cutback coming over the bridge section now. Will he have the momentum coming through? Rob's managed to break away. 1.4 seconds separates 2nd and 3rd place now. This looks to be the penultimate lap. So it is all coming down to this now. Nose to tail from Jason and Gard coming out onto the tight or the banked right-hander. Hippie now in the background, actually managing to make up a lot of time here and catch both Jason and his teammate Gard in front. Great recovery drive from him once again. And crucially, look at this. Look at how much time Rob's managed to gain on Wrighton in front. Rob is flying right now, still setting purple sectors despite going quickest and having the fastest lap so far. Will Rob try and make a move on Wrighton coming into the next few corners? No, looks like Wrighton actually gets a bit early too on the brakes. Rob doesn't expect it, and Wrighton maintains the position coming into the last sector of the race now. Julian actually looking to pull out of the side there. Unfortunately, won't be continuing the rest of this race. Wrighton managing to maintain his gap to Rob, but as I say that though, he does clip the wall and Rob pulls right back up into him there. Looks like Gard and Jason going side by side coming into the last corner there. Jason just defends his position there, but once again Gard has the momentum coming out of the corners. Rob looking to the inside of Wrighton for the lead. Wrighton won't make it very easy, but Rob just slotting through Wrighton there, and Wrighton not wanting to manage to maintain that. But look at the cutback move from Wrighton once again. Another cutback move out of T1, and expertly performed there by Wrighton, as Gard now managed to do the same thing as well, managing to get past Jason. Jason has the inside line coming into the next corners. Will he manage to make it stick? Gard once again going for the cutback manoeuvre, and it looks like he managed to make it stick once again and has the momentum coming into the S's. This is excellent racing by all of these guys on the final lap of this race. All to play for. Wrighton maintains his lead over Rob. Gard just managing to squeeze out Jason to keep that final place of the podium for now, but looks like Jason has a massive run coming over the bridge section now. Slots back ahead of Gard. Neck and neck stuff, constantly switching around between both of these guys. Yeah, great stuff. Rob actually managed to make a move for the lead coming into the tight right-hander there, and now to the banked right-hander. into the pit straight, into the back straight here now. Ooh, looks like Wrighton actually just gets a little bit of a tap of the wall there that will compromise his exit, and it looks like Rob actually managed to maintain a little bit more of a gap there, and quick cut to the guys behind. Will Gard be close enough to make a move on Jason? It looks like Jason has also managed to pull out just that little bit more of a gap on the two teammates behind of Gard and Hippie. Hippie going for a move on Gard on the inside, but thinks better of it, doesn't want to challenge his teammate at this stage as another positions. Oh, as it looks like Hippie actually goes off in the background there. That looks like his challenge will be done, but this race is not over yet. Looks like Rob is still being hounded by Wrighton here, coming into the last few corners there. Jason just getting a bit squirrely. Oh, but Gard actually goes very wide through the last sector there. That's not what he would have wanted. Oh, and Wrighton just gets it a bit wrong there, coming into the last corner, just hitting a bit of the sand, and it looks like Rob will take the victory in this sprint race. Fantastic recovery drive. Wrighton with an excellent second place. Jason just holds off Gard to come home to claim that last podium position. A great race from Gard here, coming in 4th and 5th. A great points finish for him yet again. Nick managing to hold off Paul. Paul looks like he actually made a bit of a mistake there. Let's see if we can have a quick look at that to see what happened. No, it looks like Paul's just moved over to the side there. Unfortunately, not quite managing to saw what happened there at that stage of the race. But once again, your winner, Rob, here managing to claim back his first place in the sprint race once again. I really need to recover my breath after that one. Awesome spectacle from all of these guys here. That definitely is one of the most entertaining races we had so far. Especially with a different podium winner as well. So, after that absolutely crazy race, let's have a quick rundown of the final standings here. Rob with a great win there, managing to make amends for the sprint, for the feature race I should say, earlier in the day. Great win from him and managing to take the fastest lap by a country mile with a 2:17 as well on lap 5. Wrighton making amends for the earlier feature race and coming home to finish 2nd place. A great recovery drive from him, managing to maintain his lead right until the very end. Still gave Rob a massive run for his money. So great stuff from there as well. Jason again, after a mistake from him as well, also great recovery drive to take the last podium position after being hounded by Gard for pretty much the entire race there. And a great job from Gard to finish in 4th place here. So once again, great driving by him and taking 2 4th places away at this stage this weekend. Hippie again with a 2nd, 5th place. Might have wanted to challenge a bit more after the great start he had, but rough and tumble racing in this sprint race really saw him just being pushed back a little bit, but solid points for the team here today. Nick managing to come across in 6th place as well. Paul coming across the line in 7th, and unfortunately Julian, after a little bit of an incident on the first couple laps there, unfortunately finishing at the back of the pack there. Good stuff from all of these guys here. Once again, as I save that replay, definitely one of the most entertaining races we have had so far, and it's going to be very interesting to see how the points shape up going into the final round next week. And I believe, if my memory serves me correctly, we are heading to Suzuka for the final round of this GR4 season. So it should be all to play for. Constructors, drivers, championships, still all to play for at this stage. So really good show, and that about wraps it up. Wow, finally take a breath after that. Whew, so breathe after all of that. Once again, just want to thank everybody again for watching and participating in that. Great show by everybody, especially in that sprint race. That was such a blast to watch, and that last sprint race as well. So excellent stuff from all of these guys here today. And yes, so once again, thank you all for watching, and be sure to tune in for the final round of GR4 Season 4 Championship coming down next Sunday. Be there, be square. 7:30 the lobby is open, 7:30 the stream will be up. So make sure you all tune in to watch that final round here today. Not today, next week. I'm going to stop talking before my brain explodes. On that note, see you next week, guys, and take care.